Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Nick Aldis issued a warning to top WWE stars on SmackDown tonight. This comes after these stars' recent behavior. Pretty Deadly was one of the best tag teams on NXT and was known for their entertaining antics. However, it's been a while since they were called up to the main roster and they haven't been involved in many notable storylines. This hasn't stopped their scheming ways. Last week on SmackDown, Pretty Deadly told the Street Profits that it was Los Garza who attacked them a few weeks ago. However, Apollo Crews later told Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins that Elton Prince and Kit Wilson lied and it was DIY who attacked them. On the latest episode of SmackDown, Legado del Fantasma confronted Pretty Deadly backstage, and as things were about to turn ugly, Nick Aldis and WWE officials stepped in to separate them. The SmackDown GM then informed Pretty Deadly to stay back as he wanted to talk to them. As he was talking to them about last week, DIY walked in and tried to convince Aldis that Pretty Deadly was telling the truth. Aldis then warned them that they were on very thin ice. The general manager then informed the superstars that they were treading on very thin ice, hinting that there could be repercussions if they didn't mend their ways. It looks like Pretty Deadly is trying to get a WWE Tag Team title match against DIY by helping them out. The energy in the arena was electric as WWE SmackDown kicked off. Fans erupted with cheers as the opening pyrotechnics lit up the stage, but there was an undercurrent of tension. SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis had announced a major address earlier in the day, one he promised would shake the blue brand to its core. The night's festivities began with highlights of recent events, focusing on controversial moments involving top stars like LA Knight, Jimmy USO, and Solo Sikoa. The segment ended with Aldis' voice ominously echoing through the speakers. Tonight, SmackDown will change. Mark my words, serious repercussions are on the cards. As the show returned from its first commercial break, Nick Aldis' theme music hit. Dressed in a sharp navy blue suit, Aldis walked to the ring with the authority of a man on a mission. The crowd buzzed, unsure whether to cheer or boo. Aldis grabbed a microphone, his piercing gaze scanning the audience. For weeks now, I've watched as chaos has consumed SmackDown, Aldis began, his voice steady but firm. Superstars defying rules, interfering in matches, and attacking each other backstage without provocation. This is not the SmackDown I envisioned when I took this job. The crowd roared at the mention of chaos, clearly enjoying the drama that Aldis was criticizing. Aldis, unfazed, continued. Let me make this perfectly clear, I run a tight ship. And anyone who thinks they can defy my authority or disrespect this brand is on very thin ice. The emphasis on the final phrase sent a shiver through the arena. Aldis then turned his attention to the Titantron, where footage played of recent incidents, LA Knight attacking Jimmy USO during a contract signing, Solo Sikoa ambushing Rey Mysterio after a match, and a controversial low blow from Grayson Waller that had cost AJ Styles a championship opportunity. Let's start with you, LA Knight, Aldis said, pointing directly at the camera. You may call yourself the megastar, but your actions have made you more of a liability than an asset. Attacking Jimmy USO during a contract signing? That's not how we do business here. The crowd's cheers for Knight were deafening, but Aldis wasn't swayed. I don't care how loud they cheer for you, Aldis said, motioning to the fans. If you can't play by the rules, you won't play at all. He then shifted his focus to the bloodline. Jimmy USO, Solo Sikoa, do you think the rules don't apply to you because you're part of the bloodline? Do you think Roman Reigns' shadow protects you from consequences? Let me be very clear, I don't care about family ties. If you step out of line again, there will be serious repercussions. The audience erupted with a mix of boos and cheers, sensing the tension rising. And Grayson Waller, Aldis continued, his tone sharpening. You may be one of the fastest rising stars on SmackDown, but your underhanded tactics against AJ Styles have not gone unnoticed. Consider this your final warning. Before Aldis could continue, LA Knight's theme hit. The crowd erupted as the charismatic star made his way to the ring, microphone in hand. Nick, Knight began, smirking. Let me talk to you. You come out here, talking about rules and consequences, but let's be honest, you're just mad that the fans love me more than they respect you. The crowd roared, clearly siding with Knight. Aldis, however, didn't flinch. This isn't a popularity contest, L.A., Aldis responded coolly. This is about maintaining order and ensuring fair competition. Knight stepped closer, getting in Aldis' face. Fair competition? Is that what you call letting guys like Jimmy and Solo run wild while I get penalized for defending myself? Sounds like someone's playing favorites, yeah. Before Aldis could reply, the Bloodline's music hit. Jimmy USO and Solo Sikoa made their way to the ring, looking smug and unconcerned. Jimmy grabbed a mic. Nick, you've got a lot to say about the Bloodline, Jimmy said, leaning casually against the ropes. But let's be real, you're just scared. Scared of what we represent, scared of what we can do. Solo stood silently beside his brother, his menacing presence enough to make the tension in the ring palpable. Aldis, now surrounded by three of SmackDown's most dominant personalities, showed no signs of backing down. Scared? No, Jimmy, I'm not scared, Aldis said, his voice steady. But I am tired of the chaos you bring to this show. So here's what's going to happen. At the Royal Rumble, it'll be LA Knight versus Jimmy USO in a no disqualification match. Solo, if you interfere, you'll be suspended indefinitely. The crowd erupted at the announcement, but Jimmy and Solo didn't look pleased. Before they could protest, Aldis continued. And as for you, LA Knight, this is your chance to prove you're not just a loudmouth, but a real competitor. If you lose, you'll be suspended for 30 days. The stakes were set, and the tension in the ring was at a boiling point. Grayson Waller's music then hit, and the Australian superstar strutted to the ring, his cocky grin lighting up the arena. Nick, mate, I think you forgot someone, Waller said, leaning casually on the ropes. What's my punishment for being too good? Aldis smirked, clearly ready for Waller's antics. Oh, don't worry, Grayson. You'll get yours. Next week, you'll face AJ Styles in a steel cage match. No running, no cheap shots, just you and AJ, one-on-one. As the crowd roared its approval, the tension in the ring boiled over. Jimmy USO shoved LA Knight, who retaliated with a right hand. Solo Sikoa joined the fray, attacking Knight, while Waller took the opportunity to taunt Aldis. Aldis, however, wasn't having it. He called for security, and a swarm of officials rushed the ring to separate the brawling superstars. Amid the chaos, Aldis grabbed the mic one last time. This is exactly what I'm talking about, he shouted. You're all on very thin ice. Step out of line again, and you'll find yourselves out of SmackDown, and possibly out of WWE. Backstage, the locker room was abuzz with reactions. Superstars like AJ Styles and Kevin Owens were seen nodding in approval of Aldis' decisions, while others, like Jimmy USO and Grayson Waller, were visibly frustrated. Meanwhile, Paul Heyman was spotted on the phone, likely reporting the night's events to Roman Reigns. The Tribal Chief's reaction to Aldis' ultimatum would undoubtedly shape the weeks to come. As SmackDown went off the air, one thing was clear: Nick Aldis wasn't afraid to lay down the law. With the Royal Rumble on the horizon and tensions at an all-time high, the road to WrestleMania promised to be one of the most unpredictable in WWE history.